Hey, for all you video insiders, I'm going to be talking about our video growth system. It's a roadmap that we use to help guide clients have an idea of how to kickstart, build up their brand, and eventually get to the point where they can start their own in-house team and have a structured video ecosystem within their company. If you are in the stages of building up your video content, if you already have a videographer and you're just working on building video and you need like a little blueprint or a little guideline on where to start and how to sort of approach it in the long run, this is going to be for you. So there's technically 5 stages within our video growth system, but they can also be broken down into really just 3 phases. Essentially, your first is your content buildup and your long forms, which is essentially the audience warm up and getting people to raise their hands. So this is kind of the first things you want to do with the video content. If you are a product-based company, so if you're selling like a hard product like shoes, goods, maybe an application, then maybe skits are better built for you. Skits are built mostly to capture eyeballs. They provide a certain level of entertainment to the audience. And examples of this would be like scripted shorts, right? You've seen those on like Instagram and TikTok. Maybe daily life events. Those are good ones. There's user-generated content. And then there's like, hey you videos. It's like when, someone just scroll stops you and then, goes into a detailed talk of something or a scripted talk of something. And then if you're service-based, there's going to be value bombs is what we call them here at Denim Stitch. And essentially those are educational and informational videos that provide knowledge to the audience. An example of that would be like your event speeches that you repurpose into short TikTok videos or like snippets, and maybe podcast interviews, which goes into long form, meeting recordings, right? If you have a Zoom meeting, a consultation meeting with your clients, because a lot of service-based have, video consultations, explainer videos, like if you have a long piece of, 7 tips to do something, short snackable pieces of education to your target audience. And the next thing we want to talk about is, so what are these doing for them? Essentially, you're doing a few things when you're doing these short little videos. You're establishing trust, you're building awareness, you're nurturing potential clients, right? You're giving them, eventually they become more educated, or eventually they've seen enough of your stuff that they want to approach you. You want to be able to provide that upfront value either through entertainment or education. And then you want to establish authority in the field, right? By doing that, the more they see you, the more they trust you. Then especially with service-based, if you use, value bombs to build that educational material for them to, get quick snackable pieces of advice, it will help you eventually build authority with them. And then building a high number of content to fill up the content calendar, I think that's like one of the biggest things for people, right? To maintain their, daily operations. Video production is a very time-consuming effort. So you want to be able to, as a business owner who's trying to, either build these things or build skits, you want to be able to not take up too much of your time at first. Budgets, your resources, your time is all very valuable right now. So you want to be able to mitigate some of that, make it more efficient to build a content library. So it's really important to be able to find out those ways to develop content in a large amount, but also very sustainable for you at this stage. And that's sort of what these skits and value bombs sort of do. It's something that you can quickly dish out in a couple of hours, maybe during an event you're already attending, during a podcast you're on, just trying to rapid fire them out throughout the day. It's not like becoming a strenuous activity for you, essentially. And also it helps you find out what works for the audience, and that's very important for you. This can be done just through your cell phone, and then you want to create different varieties of that to figure out what works, right? Different styles, different tones, different moods. and figure out what resonates with your target audience that you're trying to reach. So maybe that's also kind of playing into what your brand is. In the starting stages, I think you should focus on these things. So how good is the sound? If you can't even have people understand what you're saying, sound actually plays a really big role in the world of video. It's probably more like 70 sound, 30 video. How high def is the video, right? Even though we're only shooting things on Instagram, social media, we need to be considering, are we also gonna eventually use those for websites? Are we using them for like, you know, things that require bigger video formats? So it's good to have that future-proofed, but also sometimes it should be low def, right? If your target audience was like a blue collar, if they were just looking for trendy, authentic things, maybe they prefer to see more realistic, more real life, more cell phone generated info, right? Or more at least raw and unfiltered. And so this is all really subjective to who your target audience and who you are as a brand or who you're trying to become and finding your voice. How well is the edit, right? The edit is essentially the pacing, and it's essentially the information you're giving. Does it make sense together? Is it snappy if you're on social media? If it tells a deep story, you know, how good is the information? The information provided needs to create value, right? And whether that's through making fun little skits or through providing information that they can immediately take away, those are all really important. How relatable is the content? Does this resonate with them? Does this content speak to something in their life? Is it going to create engagement, essentially? Is it on the right platform? And this is a really important one because we sometimes, you know, get clients who put content out and they're not really sure where this content is going because different content platforms require different types of video length. It requires different tones. It requires different editing styles to it. If you're putting a video that's not suited for the platform, it will definitely cause you to not have as good of a effect as it's intended for. And then sometimes it's just really, instead it's the vice versa, it's you're figuring out what the right platform is for your brand. And then so these are the things that kind of like are important. And then we have the long form EDUs, which is like long form education contents used to kind of qualify your customers, right? It's to find your true followers, people who really want to watch your information, because we have people who get attracted to by just catching them through eyeballs, but you know, those might not stay long. They might be there for the quick thrills. So who amongst those people are actually going to become your long-term, you know, fans or followers or customers? That's what the long form is there for to do, really. Like if someone can watch through a whole hour of you talking, that's insane, right? I don't even want to hear myself talk for an hour. And here I am recording this. Examples would be workshop webinars, right? These are great examples. People are using them all the time. Video podcasts, explainer videos, Q&As, right? Live Q&As, online Q&As, how-to videos, like how to do something, right? We'll have to watch through the whole 30 minutes of how to build a car or something like that. Product demos, product-based companies probably need that. Right, create a product demo, see if they're interested in watching the whole thing to learn more information about it. And these can all turn into lead magnets for you in your company. So think about it that way. And the best part about it is you are able to repurpose these back into, you know, value bombs and skits, essentially. Mostly value bombs or like short little snippets. Then that kind of just feeds back into your little content wheel and saves you more time, right? Because you're already doing this and it gives you this. Now they also qualify leads for you. They also identify lead magnets because you can figure out which one of these either workshops, podcasts, or whatever forms are working for you, and which specific contents are doing a lot more than others. And you know, this is just all with time and content building. So now you can also reuse them as evergreen content. So these contents can come back and back again over the years, right? And essentially help you build more build more of a following or build more of customers, potential prospects, whatever you want to call it. And then you can gather contact info through them usually as well. You can't really do that usually with the short forms, but with the longer forms, there's more of a intent for them to want your content and to want to know more about your product or service or you as a person. That just gives you an opportunity to do that. It furthers your positioning, and also it creates a video arsenal, right? That's one of our biggest objectives in this first building stage. It's to build a video arsenal that you can use in your video communication. Once you get out of that, usually you're moving into brand building and brand retention. This is where we start to build your tribe, right? So brand building is building your religion. And that's when you really start to create brand story videos, right? Those are things that potentially they're going on your landing page. You're trying to create higher level pieces now that are trying to elevate your brand. And this is where it gets expensive. So now you're seeing like just from a $2 cost resource, now we're going into a 4. This is where we start thinking about, oh, this is also going on a website. So maybe we can't do those 1080p cell phone videos. Maybe we need to start creating, 4K, 6K videos. We need to start having a Lamborghini, essentially, is what it is. And then with those, you can still make them into social cuts because they can become, teasers and value bombs and social landing page videos and, like on your cell phone, like mobile friendly. And then you can create founder stories, employee videos, client stories, all those sort of things go here. And another really good part about it is you can start building employee videos, right? So either it's employees talking about the company or brand, their day in the life of, their, user generated content from them. So essentially them maybe with a cell phone or something, or giving a little fun and excitement. And these can be used for not just outwards to your potential followers, but now it can also be used as a recruitment and retention sort of strategy in your company. Now you can build your tribe, appeal through genuine emotions, right? Now you're talking more about how do I evoke feelings and emotions. You're building ideologies, your cultures, etc., right? And that's how you showcase that. You're gonna be able to stand out more from your competitors and differentiate your brand, right? But you can only do that after you actually built a strong video arsenal. And so if you jump straight into it, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And then once you move into that, it becomes the power-ups becomes how good is the storytelling? How do I feel after watching this, right? Now we're talking a lot about feeling. Is the brand aligned with me, right? Is it aligning through, essentially it's more about resonation now than ever, right? Now we're trying to provoke them to have catharsis with us as a company. So ethos, pathos, logos, the Greeks said it best. And then we move into brand retention, which is also part of phase 2. And during brand retention, essentially we're trying to reinforce that faith, right? And check up on our people. If you're thinking about these are just becoming, social proof videos. So customers become your spokesperson at this point, right? You've built a strong enough brand. There's going to be people who are more devoted than others and they become your spokesperson. So an example of that is, testimonial videos, thank you shout outs from them, case studies, and client stories. These are all videos that you could potentially create, and they do sign up the same thing. They retend, but also they become your lead magnets, like a wall of testimonials or something, and showcase people that your thing's working, or showcase that you're a trusted brand. It feels more authentic to them when a real person is telling them about your religion, right? About your ideology, about your company, about your products. You can also repurpose that into those social cuts again. See, a lot of it is about repurposing if you know what you're repurposing for. And then you can still do the employee videos, right? Even during the retention stage, it's probably more important to do them. And then you can also do onboard videos now, right? So reassure customers made the right decision going with your brand. Again, they're very similar in terms of, welcome videos, process videos, expectations, and next step videos. Essentially, you're more towards trying to guide them into your business or guide them into your brand. in this stage. And then there's like after service videos, right? That's finishing strong with a successful experience and transforming customers to be your advocates. And this kind of like feeds back into your social proof videos. So examples would be, thank you notes and review requests. And then what does this do? So it tackles buyer's remorse, right? And people buy things and then they're like, oh, should have I bought that or shouldn't I have bought that? Right? It identifies more lead magnets to reuse in your content, right? So everything essentially becomes an ecosystem. Then you create video arsenals again, and then you retain the clients, right? And then you offer customer service because that's a key part. And then building social proof, setting up for future referrals potentially, and ending the interaction, right? Especially with the after service video, it's like you have a complete cycle where it's like, okay, we finished this whole thing, now let's see where it goes. Now you're also creating free social proof videos, right? Because essentially they're people that just want to, because they resonated with your product or your brand or your service, they've decided to go into working with you more, or they've decided to go into buying more of your products and telling about their friends and family about your products. And then we also want to talk about, do they care? Do they have a lot of related resources, right? Do they have testimonials? Or then now you're building into a bigger brand and a bigger system. So you have all these extra things that people can look at and be like, oh, cool. The more information, the more top of mind. And then this is a little cheaper because you did a lot of the brand building and you're still probably going to end up doing that more, and then more efficient and less resource demanding because a lot of the things you're doing in brand building can be carried over to brand retention or done at the same time, and then you sort of repurpose that. So once you have this video content cycle, right, this little well-oiled machine that's, you're still doing all of these things and it just constantly goes in this round trip now, and everything can cross repurpose into each other. Then you have a fluid video marketing system going on in your company, and you've become very familiar with how video works, and you have the people in their seats that can handle these things on a higher level. Finally, we reach our end game, which is our video sustainability. Video can get very expensive. So towards some point, I feel like every company ends up going in-house to some degree. And then they start outsourcing videos, right, to vendors that they trust and believe. Start thinking about your end game, which is how are you going to turn this into an in-house system, right? I mean, you can start planning for it here already, but it brings you to your end game, which is how do you make it more sustainable for you to run video production in your company? To think about if you need to train an in-house team, right? So as it becomes more part of your system, in your marketing and in your just daily operations, it's time to think about moving this stuff in-house, because it would get really expensive if you didn't. And examples would be, hiring videographers, content managers, content creators, creative directors, marcom teams, all of these things. If you're able to play with these in-house, you would be able to stretch a lot more content out rather than outsourcing. But that's not to say you want to deny the outsourced videos, because you don't want to put too much stress on your in-house team, first of all, because that just destroys productivity. In-house, sometimes you have a very, locked in perspective of what's going on. It's nice to bring in outside creativity to kind of like elevate sometimes, or like see it from a different picture, right? And this could be freelancers, video production companies, creative agencies. They all play an integral role. At this point, you should have already figured out how to sort of work with them, how to work out the budgets, how to work out the creative briefs and all these things with them. And then you just do everything as needed, yearly updates, hire in-house, maintain their sustainability, train them, create SOPs, create training manuals, outsource it when needed, and that's about it. All right, guys, so I hope this mini workshop was useful to you in thinking about video and how to implement it into your business system. If you have any more questions or you would like a free consultation with me, hit on the link below and we can schedule a free 30-minute video consultation where I can go deeper into any of the ideas or concepts